Transcending history and the world, a tale of souls and swords, eternally retold.
When I first saw Soul Calibur 6, my biggest thought process was, is that the stage from Soul Calibur 1 sort of redone, and why does Mitsurugi and Sophidia look so young? But the more we learned, the more we found out that the game actually is sort of revisiting a timeline, sort of taking the best aspects of the Soul Calibur timeline and putting the things that we like the most, younger characters from Soul Calibur 1 and 2, sort of recreated with modern aesthetics. And I don't think I could have been any happier with that decision. I think the choice to go back to classic character designs is important because that's a lot of the best parts of Soul Calibur for a lot of people. And it's also a good opportunity to sort of mesh with the characters that were introduced later, now that we have this interesting timeline that is warping and taking characters from everywhere. There's no specific reason for us not to have characters like Tira or not to have characters from Soul Calibur 4 or 5 make an appearance in a game where the characters are younger from Soul Calibur 1. And I think that's a very, very good idea.
I work on TV in France, and my colleagues, they said, oh, I went to E3 and we spent hours playing Soul Calibur 6, and it's the best fighting game, it's the best ever. And I was surprised because I didn't expect them to say that from Soul Calibur, you know. It's so fast and the movements are so easy to get access to that it attracts a lot of new players. They can have fun really easily. It's beautiful, elegant, the characters have all their own style.
I think Soul Calibur right now is probably in its best state for someone to come back to, because now everyone's kind of back, and many of the characters that you remember from the previous games have returned. They look better than they ever have, and they're sort of the same characters that you remember back in the day. I also love the fact that it's taking a lot of classic music and classic stages and sort of revamping them to sort of tickle the nostalgia a little bit to get people back, because right now, from what a lot of people remember of Soul Calibur, this is probably the closest to the classic experience, but modern day that you're probably ever gonna get.
I love it. It feels like the old school Caliburs that I liked. I've told people that it's been about a decade since I've been excited about Soul Calibur, and this one did it for me. I think a lot of old school players will really like it just because it feels like the games that they're used to and that they enjoyed.
Nice, gets a big hit there, that was counter. Oh, that might be it, and Link RKC moving on to our grand finals.
Man. Yeah, a lot of the mechanics are definitely completely new, which is what I wanted, because I feel like, you know, if you're gonna make a new game, right? They're a lot deeper than it seems, right? The reversal edge is something that I think not a lot of people are using yet. I think that it's gonna be essential in gameplay.
If you hold reversal edge, it makes the game much more about, did my opponent push a button or did they not push a button, than what button they're pushing and all the mind games that can be associated with that. There are a lot of tools for players who are still unsure about like matchups, like how other characters work. And if you're kind of new to the game, a lot of those tools like reversal edge are gonna help you with stuff.
And he's gonna be ready for the outcome. We get a push, level 2. And he wins it. Ooh, yeah. Look at that, oh my gosh, and the explosion and the follow-up. Now you see.
I think the supers and the activation of the soul charge also are really refreshing and new concepts that are going to alter high-level gameplay for sure. Everyone seems to like it on every level. New players feel good, they want to do the moves. Expert players are finding new hidden things that didn't even look like they would be there.
And just like that. And he's taking a hit, that is. Oh, man! Did you see the layers of the mind game here? That is cheap.
Challenged a Witcher, must have had a death wish.
You know, whenever it comes to the Soul Calibur series, one of the staples, and I would say this since Part 2 especially, has been the inclusion of a guest character. You know, they've had some amazing guest characters in the past, and now having a character from the Witcher series, I think it fits well. I mean, just looking at the character, you know, you could see how he plays into the game and into the series and the feeling and the theme of the game. He fits.
I think guest characters are a huge part of the Soul Calibur series in general, so of course Geralt being in the game is a big one for a lot of people. Even though I'm not a big Witcher fan, the little bit I've played with the character is super engaging and fun because he uses a lot of the meter that's in the game to do a lot of his spells and fire moves. But I am excited to see if there's anything more in the future because guest characters are something that immediately piques everyone's interest when you talk about Soul Calibur.
Stand up. Now take my steel. Ever fight a Witcher? Guess not.
I'm happy it's happening, and you know, it's way overdue. And I think the game's turning out really great. I hope that the company supports it after launch on a competitive level because I think today that's essential. I'm very hopeful that these two things work together. The game is good enough to warrant the competitive support, and then the competitive support allows the game to have its legs and get what it deserves in the spotlight.
One of the things in the past that has always kind of hurt Soul Calibur is it always came at the wrong time. You know, whether it was an early year release or it was a release during another major fighting game, it always kind of got pushed to the side. And that's something that the team didn't want to replicate again this time around. So they had to wait till the right time to make sure it was able to come out without any other competition sales-wise, and also to be able to make sure it gets its own limelight. So I think the timing now is obviously right. Everyone's super excited. I haven't seen this kind of excitement from the fighting game community for a new 3D fighting game.
Actually, I was very happy to see how awaited the game is. It's funny because I thought that with all the American tournaments that had Soul Calibur 6 in a side event or exhibition or playable, I would not have expected that many players waiting to play here at EVO, but there were so many.
I think it will definitely grow the scene. I've had a lot of players from different genres, like anime players, Tekken players come up to me telling me they want to learn the game.
Every time there is a new Soul Calibur, it's the same. We see different champions. And I think it's really hopeful to see players that play other games that are interested in Soul Calibur. I think that it's not only new players in Soul Calibur 6, it will be players that started with another game and will come to Soul Calibur 6.
Insignia does have the life lead. The patience. Oh, burn! Oh, the chip! Oh, unbelievable! That was so smart.
So I'm really looking forward to, of course, seeing how the community is able to, you know, take hold of this opportunity. This is the right time to really get into Soul Calibur, and if you've always been a fan, it's the perfect time to get into it competitively. We're already finding amazing success in how this game is being played. There's so much variety already, and you can really see the passion of the fans and how they play competitively, fueling this game. And we had an amazing tournament here at Summer Jam, but not just at Summer Jam, even at EVO. We just had our first two big tournaments to kind of showcase the game, and you know, I thought it was really fun.
And I think the top 8 was so good as well. When I missed the top 8 in 2009, I was so frustrated, and I always dreamed of getting on stage for my main game. Even if the game is not released yet, I have felt many fears, like I could do better, but I also felt that the pressure was good for me to continue the competition, and especially after Xefuka pop off against me.
Oh, and that's it. That's gonna be it. Wow, very nice. The pop off.
Wow,
Damn.
he is.
I was like, okay, calm down. I will beat him next time.
Man, he's working on it. He's working on it. Oh, he might get to the reverse.
Oh, it went!
It went. Oh my God.
I felt like I was one mistake away from losing the whole time, especially Party Wolf. I had sent him to the losers bracket and he came all the way back through, and I was kind of hoping that wasn't going to happen. He almost came back on me.
And Link RKC is your Soul Calibur 6 champion here. What a performance.
The game has not started yet in the real competition, but it's already show how it will be in the next events when it will be released. That's just the beginning, and that got me so excited.
I'm very excited for the potential future of Soul Calibur 6. To think that we could actually have developer support for tournaments, developer support for world tours or events or anything like that is something that's never really been explored very much before in the Soul Calibur sort of fandom. And I think that's important because Soul Calibur as a competitive element and a viewership thing where you're watching this game and all this stuff happening, not many people have gotten the chance to experience that. And I think having the characters be the characters that you remember, having Soul Calibur going back to its roots is a really important thing for the game.
Everybody happy to have Soul Calibur 6 here?
I mean, you know, it's been a long time. Honestly, I think that the Soul Calibur scene, it's never been a big, unified scene because each game was so different and there wasn't a lot of cross-pollination from game to game. Usually, if you liked one, you didn't like the next one, and that's how it kept happening over and over again. This is really one of the first ones where a lot of people seem to like it. Old school players are liking it. There's cross-pollination with other games. So, I mean, I'm not concerned with that at all. I think that everyone's just really hungry for a new Soul Calibur and they deserve one.
I think it doesn't matter which Soul Calibur you come from or if Soul Calibur 6 is your first Soul Calibur, you still have the time and the possibility to beat old players like me. I think for new players to adapt in this game will be fast, and I think they can really do well. I think everybody can be good in this game.
I mean, the game isn't even out yet, but I think it's in good hands, and I can't wait to see how this shapes up.
Fate.